morning and welcome to Wednesday Mornings with Doug. Doug, how are you today?
Very good, Tammy. Very good. And how are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for asking. So today we're filming from a different location. We are here at Doug's Open House located on Joseph Street in Campbell. So I'll put the information to the house in the box below if you'd like to get a little more information about the house. And today, a few of our questions, actually one of our questions is unique to an open house. So Doug, let's start with the first question that we received. The first question we received is, if a buyer has purchased a house or in contract on the house, if a seller is in contract on a house, and then the seller chooses to back out of the transaction, can they do that? And if they can, what are the ramifications for that?
Well, Tammy, there's lots of ramifications, and it's a pretty big subject. But especially in an up market where things have been so hot, a seller prices his home, puts it on the market, thinks it is a good price, maybe an optimistic price, gets an offer, gets it sold, and then 2 weeks later, the guy across the street sells his house for more, and you know it's not as good a house. So the seller here says, man, if I could get out of this deal, let's kill this deal and I'll go back on the market and I'll get more money. Well, if the agents have been doing their job and have written good solid contracts, that can be very difficult to do and can have negative consequences for the seller. The agents, again, if the agents are hitting their timelines, if the buyers have removed contingencies on time, have complied with their part of the contract, the seller often, for the most part, is going to have to go through with the transaction.
So pretty much what you're saying, that if a seller is in contract with their home and everything is removed, you are as good as sold.
That's correct. Now, sellers often will say, well, it was a 30-day escrow and they didn't close on time, so they're in breach of contract, I'm out of here. Well, you got to look at the reasons for that. If the buyer really did what they were supposed to do, often they don't close on time because there's loan problems. But a buyer who's actively working towards the close per the contract, even if they don't quite hit those marks, automatic expirations of time periods won't get the seller out that easily.
So there's really nothing that they can do. Once you've agreed to sell your home, you've agreed to sell your home.
Right.
All ties are cut.
Right. Again, we've got to be doing our job, because a seller in that situation may well go to their attorney and have the attorney pour over it and try and find a loophole someplace. But if you're doing your job, you should be able to count on that transaction closing.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, and let's move on to the second question. And the second question is applicable to, like, we're in your open house right now. And let's say when you get in contract with the buyer and the house gets broken into, who would be liable for that? Because it's already in contract.
Right. Well, one of the talks we have with the seller, like this happens to be a trustee sale, or it's a probate sale, and the administrator of the estate needs to, is the one we're working with to sell the house. And one of the things we've told her was, make sure that you maintain homeowners insurance on the property. We always tell people, even if you move out, maybe if it's even going into an estate, probate, trust sale, to keep the insurance on the property, because the homeowner is liable. Whoever owns his home is liable if something happens. And I could talk about an open house. We had a situation where somebody fell on a stair in an open house a couple of months ago, and it's the homeowner's problem, to defend. I mean, there's all kinds of other things, of course, to go into it. Was that person being careless, and should they have been doing what they were doing? But as a practical matter, this house belongs to the estate, and it needs to be maintained. If while we're marketing the home or after we've accepted an offer, it's still the responsibility of the trust, whatever entity is owning this house. And if a house gets broken into, it's not the buyer's problem. The seller is responsible for bringing it back up to snuff. When we enter into a contract, and typically our contracts now are all as is, the buyer's buying it as is, but the buyer has a right to expect it at the close of escrow in the condition it was in when they made the decision to purchase. So if it gets broken into, damage is done, vandalism, whatever, it's the seller's responsibility to bring it back up to speed.
And that also includes act of God or anything of that nature, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay,
yes,
wonderful. Well, Doug, thank you so much for letting us come into your open house today. We'll put the link to the open house, if you're watching Facebook, in the box above, and if this is YouTube, it's going to be in the box below. Thank you so much, Doug.
Thank you, Tammy.
You're welcome, and we look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Thank you. Bye.